Hey class, and welcome to this week's lesson, lesson 11. So I get started on this video here, I just want to kind of apologize a little bit. Shooting this down in my basement and it's kind of a mess. See a few bikes in the back. Anyways, hardly ever come down here, so kind of forget what it looks like. Should probably clean it up. Anyways, enough about that. Before I get into this week's lesson material, I just wanted to talk a little bit about pathways in the coronavirus that's going on. I'm sure everybody around the world is hearing about this and knows about this. So Pathway had released a statement saying that they will be canceling gatherings in most locations, but ultimately it's going to be up to your missionaries and kind of what the situation's like in your area, and it's up to them. So with that, please just let me know if your gathering is going to be getting canceled, and I will make sure that you that those points are excused, and that that doesn't affect your grade. So I know it's kind of a scary time right now. Lots going on around the world. And conference coming up, and things being canceled, and now even church. We're not having our church meetings. You're just doing at-home study. It's crazy. But during these times, just make sure that you are listening to the Spirit, that you keep a prayer in your heart, and I'm sure we'll all be able to get through it. So I haven't set my timer yet. I just want to talk about that for a sec. All right, let's jump into this week's material now, okay? So here we are, lesson 11, getting close to the end. Gosh, we're just like 3-4 more weeks, guys. So let's talk a little bit about what we'll be doing this week. To start off this week, we will be working on decision making in our professional skills portion. Now, this isn't decision making like what should I eat for breakfast or what clothes should I wear, right? This is like big decision making. Maybe choosing a career. If you're starting a business, like we're pretending that we're doing with our group project right now, maybe deciding which market, all big decisions, right? That's what we're focusing on this week. One thing when you're making big decisions, whether it be in business or personal life, one thing I would definitely recommend is to always make sure that you pray about it. I firmly believe that Heavenly Father wants each of us to succeed in life, not just spiritually, but also in our careers. And so if you're coming up with a problem in your career someday, don't be hesitant to pray about that. I know I have. When I've made career moves, I always pray about it and usually go to the temple and ponder if I should do it or not. But even at work, there's days like I've got projects going on, things are hard, and I don't know what to do. And I in my morning prayer, I'll ask for help. So I think that's definitely, when you're making decisions, definitely a good thing to remember is to keep our Heavenly Father in the loop and ask Him. And I would say, I don't necessarily always feel like I get an answer like, oh, do this. But all of a sudden that day at work, a thought will pop into my head, right? And it'll be something I hadn't thought of before. Or all of a sudden I'll find something I had never found before, right? So, just those, and little things like that just help build my testimony and remind me that Heavenly Father has His hand in everything that we do. But also when you're making decisions as well, some guidelines to go by. Sorry, I got to look at my notes here. Just make sure I hit all of them. But there's three recommended things that you make sure that you do. The first one is understand the problem, and I can't state this enough, right? All too often, a bad decision comes because maybe we didn't fully understand everything, and we made a decision on bad assumptions. And maybe at the time you had to. Maybe you didn't, you couldn't collect enough data, or you couldn't get enough information, so you just had to almost like guess, right? And a lot of times, bad decisions are made because we don't understand the problem. The next thing is make sure you get the information that you need. Right? That kind of goes along with the data that I was talking about previously. And the last thing, that your decision aligns with your values. So as you are pretending that you have these businesses, right, and you're going to make a decision, make sure it aligns with your values. If you future on in work, career, wherever, family, make sure that the decisions that you're making align with the values that you've chosen. Okay, so those are three key things to keep in mind when you're making decisions. Next thing we'll be working on this week is our group project. This week we're going to be graphing what's called the profit equation. Now this is, as you do it, you'll see that it's pretty similar to like what you did last week with your break-even point. But this time what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up writing an equation of a line that deals with profit. And I think it's pretty neat. One thing I really like about it is that a lot of times in math, people will say, "Oh man, why do I need to know how to graph a line?" Or why do I need to know how to write an equation of a line, right? I get a lot of questions. Brother Dixon, what's the point of solving for X? When am I ever going to use this in everyday life? When am I ever going to need to know how to slope or graph a line, and the y-intercept and all that? Well, this is a great example of that. You're going to be writing a math equation of profit, and it'll be pretty interesting. Enjoy the video there. There's a great video on it that explains it step by step, and it'll help you out in your group project. The last thing I want to talk about this week is the math portion. You will be learning how to write your own equation of a line using what's called the point slope formula. And the only reason I bring this up is because a lot of times in the past, sometimes this is where people will struggle a little bit. They'll get a little confused on how to use the formula, and it kind of trips them up a little bit. So if you are having those issues, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself. We also have a tutoring center that is more than willing to meet with you. As far as I know, going back to the coronavirus stuff, everything's still available. Everything's just remote. For this class, a lot of BYU, Idaho, they've all gone because of the coronavirus. All their classes are going to remote online for the remainder of the semester. We're lucky. We're already remote and online, including the tutors, including myself, right? So no reason to struggle through it without getting some help. Please feel free to reach out to me. And with that, that's all I've got. I know I've ran over on time here. I got my timer going, but I did need to talk about the coronavirus a little bit before I got into what we're going to be doing this week for our class. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If not, have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.